Hello and welcome to Accelerate. I am Matt Stone. This is the podcast where we encourage and inspire CEOs, founders, and visionaries on their big leap journeys. We talk about the stories and strategies that will help you accelerate toward your big leap destination with purpose, humility, an open mind, commitment to growth, and recognition that the way we get there is at least as important as where we end up. And I'm so delighted that you've tuned in today. And it is Thursday, October the 20th. Thank you for listening to the podcast. As always, I'm really delighted that you're joining us, and I hope you've had a good week. And it's starting to get cold, man. I had the wool socks on last night. It was still cold. So I'm kind of bracing for the New York winter that I've experienced once before, and we'll see if I can adjust. We'll give it another year. Maybe take it year by year. Otherwise, love it here. But boy, the winter's pretty brutal. So I can see why so many people go to Florida from here or the Caribbean or wherever just to thaw out. So, all right. Well, listen, I ran across an article, and then at the end of this podcast, I'm going to share some news about the podcast. So stick around for just a few minutes. But saw an article that a colleague posted. He's at USC from the American Psychological Association, and I thought it was really an important topic. The title is "More than a quarter of U.S. adults say they are so stressed they can't function." This was published October 19th, so this was yesterday, just published. Now, the article is speaking to a study that was recently done, a poll that was conducted. And, polls are polls. I mean, you got to look at the methodology, and it's not always what it seems, right? You can create all kinds of stats, but this rings true to me based on what I'm seeing out there, in particular in the workplace. And this is why, employers can't ignore this stuff. Because it's impacting their workforces. So Americans are struggling with multiple external stressors that are out of their personal control, with 27% reporting that most days they are so stressed they cannot function, according to a poll conducted for the American Psychological Association. A majority of adults cited inflation at 83%, violence and crime, 75%, the current political climate, 66%, and racial climate, 62%, as significant sources of stress. It's revealed that 70% of adults reported they do not think people in the government care about them, that 64% said they felt their rights are under attack, and further, nearly half of adults said they do not feel protected by the laws in the United States. More than a third said the state of the nation has made them consider moving to a different country. And it goes on. So we all live in a pool. And as much as we think we can live in our own isolated bubbles, if it's socioeconomically in a bubble or racially in a bubble for some, which is crazy, but that's how it's there's all kinds of different bubbles. But we're all in the same pool. And ultimately, I think what this data shows is the truth that we win together or we lose together. And right now we're all losing together. It's causing such strain and stress on all of us. If you look at, it says 27% reported that most days are so stressed they cannot function. That's the worst cases. I mean, the severe and chronic stress and distress, I'm sure, for people who are functioning, because most of us function, is still very high, and we got to watch that on look, I can't control, none of us can control. We can go vote, make our voices heard that way. We can, if you want to protest, you can protest. There's a lot of different things that you can do to participate And in other ways, we need to tune things out and focus on the people in our lives and our community and broadening our outreach in our communities so that we are connecting with one another. And I just want to encourage all of us. Now, I don't want to sound self-righteous. Maybe I already do, but meeting people, different people from all over and understanding what they think and why. I mean, it's one of the great joys of my life. I love it. And I live in, but I also live in a place where that's a little bit easier. I mean, there's just, we've got the full spectrum here. There's a lot of different folks here, from different places with different backgrounds, there's plenty of Trump voters out here. There's plenty of, New York gets the woke rap, and it's definitely going on for sure. No question about it. But there's a lot of people on the right too, and a lot of people in the middle. And so I meet people who, you can tell. I mean, you get in a conversation, it just kind of starts leaking out. And I try not to engage on any of that because I really want to focus on the person. In fact, it happened to me yesterday at a lunch. It comes up because it's on people's minds, and it's stressing people. And I think if we can focus on supporting one another, whatever your ultimate beliefs are, then I think we can hopefully make our communities better and finally get to the realization that we're all in this together. Because if we're not all in it together, then things are doomed. I mean, it really is win-win or lose-lose ultimately in a society, on a team. We've got to be supporting one another, or else it's just a matter of time before everything falls apart. And so how's that for some optimism? No, really, I am optimistic because I don't know what other choice that we have. We have to keep going, whether it's building a business that's really, really hard to do, and I'm doing that, and it's really hard. And some days you're just like, oh man, but you keep going. And same thing with building a healthy culture and society, and it takes all of our participation and tuning out the things that we truly can't control. I mean, that stuff is like, you just can't control it. So you got to focus on what you can control. So if you want to check out this article, for whatever reason, I will post a link to it in the description. And I want to end with this. I've been doing some real soul searching about how I'm spending my time and resources, and time is a resource, mental energy, focus. I've been continuing to focus my business, and we're going to be further refining our services for the tech industry. After many, many years of thinking about it, but kind of being in fear about narrowing the business down by industry, I'm finally there. I mean, I realized that's what I always wanted to do anyway. So that's where my mind is at. And I thought it's time to now adapt again. So this should be episode 88, which is a very lucky number in China, by the way. The Chinese, 88's eights are lucky. But we're going to go beyond lucky here. So, we are going to try to get to, we're going to get to 100 episodes, and then we're going to pause as I reconfigure my media allocation and my time allocation on media. So I don't know what's coming next, but I think we haven't exhausted, but we've covered a lot of important growth mindset topics here. And today it's managing stress and building community, right? But I suppose it's endless, but I think it's time to focus even further. So listen, I'll be talking about this again in the coming, couple of weeks as we get to episode 100. But I think episode 100 would be a great place to pause and look at what to do next. So as always, thank you for listening. I hope this is inspiring to you. And I know, because I hear back from people, that it is. And I'm really, really grateful for that. I hope you have a great, great, great Thursday. If you're still in Thursday, if you're like some people already into Friday, or getting close to Friday, I should say. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I will check back with you again tomorrow with a little more information. So have a great rest of your day, and bye-bye for now.